Hello and welcome to Lawai Kanongsi. I'm Stu.
And I'm Ali.
And we've got lots of stars on the show today. That's because we're going to be talking to some of the cast and the directors and producer of Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves.
This is the most people we've ever had on the show.
Yeah, we've got the amazing Chris Pine and Michelle Rodriguez. Great to see you guys. How are you?
What's up, man?
Good.
We also have the incredibly handsome Regé-Jean Page. Nice to see you, Regé-Jean.
Hey, it's good to see you too. How you doing, Stu?
I am fine. Thank you very much for asking, Regé-Jean.
We also got Justice Smith and Sophia Lillis. Nice to see you guys.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
And last but not least, we've also got directors Jonathan Goldstein and John Francis Daly.
And producer Jeremy Latcham. Nice to see you. How are you guys?
We're good. How you doing?
We're great, thanks. Right, so we're going to jump back and forth between people. You guys at home, stick around until the end. We're going to ask someone how they would defeat the Chinese monster Nian. So let's get started. Let's start with Chris and Michelle.
Okay, guys, tell your fans here in China what can they expect from Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves.
Take it away, Bard.
Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves is a great, old-fashioned, beautiful story that's earnest, has a lot of heart, a lot of humor, incredible action. It's not jaded or cynical, and it's not meta and over it and postmodern and making fun of itself. It reminds me of Goonies and Indiana Jones and Princess Bride and Holy Grail and just good old-fashioned filmmaking, a story about a bunch of misfits and ne'er-do-wells and kind of people skirting the line of failing at life who take on the biggest evil the world has ever known and eventually succeed.
Okay, Michelle, your character is strong and powerful. She's got lots of action scenes, but she loves a certain kind of food that I also love, so I have to ask, why does Holger love potatoes so much?
I don't know. I don't know. I think maybe Holga has a little Irish in her. I have no idea. But she really does love potatoes. I noticed that.
They do taste good.
Chris, your character, Edgin, the charming bard, is rather musical, so did you have to brush up on your musical skills before you took on this role?
No. I learned the songs as best I could, and I thought the more that it looked like I was trying, probably the better for the character.
Well, how did you warm up your singing voice then?
I started singing when they said action.
That's exactly how I prepared too.
It is, yeah, he doesn't prepare. Yeah. All right, so let's jump over to Regé-Jean. Regé-Jean, did you grow up playing the tabletop game D&D?
Not D&D specifically. I grew up kind of very D&D adjacent. I grew up playing lots of Japanese role-playing games, like the kind of Super Nintendo era, so like Final Fantasy, Breath of Fire, Chrono Trigger. This whole world, the kind of sword and sorcery, was very familiar to me. I've watched D&D games online, which is possibly even deeper than playing them. So I was ready to kind of jump into that world. But then we started our whole filming process by playing a cast game of Dungeons & Dragons. And so we kind of dived in. Chris Pine talks very passionately about how it's a very natural place for actors to be because it's just improv, it's yes and. You think of the wildest, stupidest, goofiest, very occasionally most heroic thing that you could do in the world. Then you pass that on to the person next to you. And in this particular instance, I was privileged enough that person is Chris Pine. He's ridiculously sharp and clever and clued in and playful. And so he takes that idea, blows it up, passes it to Michelle Rodriguez. Michelle Rodriguez knocks it out of the park and does something thoroughly chaotic that no one's expecting. And that's the energy we took into making this film on set, you know? So we played the game to start playing as actors, and then we kept that playful energy all the way through. And hopefully that's what we're passing to you and your mates in the theater.
Yeah, I want to ask Justice and Sophia a question now. What was your favorite moment during this entire shooting process?
I really liked Simon's sequence where he's like messing up the spells and stuff.
Yeah.
And flying through the air. I love doing wire work. I love like stunts and stuff. I'm a big fan of that. We had an amazing stunt team on this. But as much as I could, I try to do my own stunts because I like being thrown around.
My favorite scene, my favorite day was, I think I told you this already. My favorite day is I went on set, and I didn't know what I was going to do. I waited for a little bit, and then I got all set. And what they had me do is that intro scene where I hop down on, from the owlbear, I become a person.
Oh, that's, yeah.
I hop down on the horse, and I do my thing, and I hit someone. And that was 5-6 takes, and then they're like, great, you can go home.
That is true.
And that was my favorite day.
Who doesn't like finishing work early?
Yeah.
I do. Right, okay, Regé-Jean, back to you now. You are incredibly popular right now. There are reports around the world saying that you're the most genetically handsome man in the world, and I heard that you got incredible shape for this movie, lots of muscles, so much so that Michelle Rodriguez said you could wash clothes on certain parts of your body, right?
So,
Michelle Rodriguez says a lot of things.
So please tell us how you got in such incredible shape. We need to know.
Well, luckily, the directors were very passionate about this movie feeling very real. You know, they didn't want this to be a green screen movie. They didn't want it to just be effects and CGI and quick cuts. They wanted you to feel the action sequences in particular. A little bit like Jackie Chan movies. They wanted it to feel like long takes and real inventiveness and real impact on the hits. So they had me in the stunt tent every day. Every day I wasn't filming. I was in there for 3 or 4 hours. I was being trained by the stunt guys. They made me sweat for this role because you have to be in great shape, not only to go through the action sequences, to try and do as much of it myself as possible, keep the stuntman off the set, but also to do that in armor and with a cape. So you're hours and hours a day just kind of A, getting fit, being conditioned, B, working through the choreography of the fights and making sure that you're doing all of this kind of for real as much as possible. And then by the time you get on set, it just means that you're not really imagining any of this. All the stakes are real. All of this is happening right there on the spot. And it means that you get that thrill. I think Michelle in particular, Michelle Rodriguez, has fantastic fight sequences in this that are both thrilling and genuinely very funny. They're very inventive. And so hopefully that's what we achieved.
Okay, well, as Chris mentioned earlier, there's a lot of singing in this movie. So Chris and Michelle, so there's one song you repeatedly mentioned, Seizing the Day. So are you guys seize the day kind of people?
Conceptually.
I wish I were more of a seize the day person. I think it's my motto in a sense, but I have to remind myself constantly about that.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Now, a question for the directors and the producer. Guys, dragons in Western culture usually have 2 legs, 2 feet, some wings maybe, but the dragons in Dungeons & Dragons Honor Amongst Thieves, they've got 4 legs. They're closer to the D&D lore of dragons, and that's actually close to what dragons look like in Chinese culture. So, did you consult any imagery of Chinese dragons when you were thinking about how dragons would look like in this movie?
The one I know that we had a lot of Chinese influence on was the stone dragon at the end of the movie. Our production designer, Ray Chan, when he was trying to make that statue, came to us with some drawings from Wizards of the Coast, but also some drawings of more traditional dragons, and that was kind of a real conversation there, as I recall.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the thing that was so great about Ray Chan is that he drew influence from all sorts of cultures and all sorts of countries to really create a unique and aesthetically diverse palette.
There's a reference to the terracotta soldiers in China in there.
Yeah, we just didn't want the film to just have rooting in a Western medieval setting. Because obviously the history of the world is such that everybody went through a medieval time around the world culturally. And so we tried to draw inspirations from kind of everywhere, which was really fun from a research standpoint.
We've also seen, the European depictions of a medieval fantasy setting in almost everything else. So it's fun to kind of break the mold and explore Eastern cultures as well.
Yeah, we have some rooftops that were designed from Japanese roofs, I think.
That's right.
From a Japanese fishing village that was very, very ancient. And it was fun to just have all these different pictures from all over the world to play with.
And yet somehow it all kind of molds together in a way that doesn't feel too disparate from one another.
Jeremy, the movies that you've been involved in are super popular here in China. So how do you make a movie that appeals to as broad a market as possible, for example China, but also satisfies the original D&D fans?
I think that ultimately what makes D&D great is something that everybody can enjoy. I mean, it's just rooted in telling great stories and in having adventure and having fun. And I think at the end of the day, that's why we all go to the cinema. And so the roots of D&D strangely are perfectly like ready to be adapted onto the big screen.
I also think that there's something very appealing about a spectacle, and this is very much that. This could not be more epic of a movie, and if you add to that the heartfelt components and the thrills and the humor, then you really have a rounded out movie that can appeal to everybody.
I mean, I could say from my experience making movies for the Chinese audience, those big Marvel movies, Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy, I think this movie is every bit as big and as exciting and is made for the big screen as those films. I mean, in many ways, this is a bigger, more exciting ride and through a more unusual world. So I really think it's ready for like that big screen audience.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it on the big screen.
Me neither. But we're gonna bring this huge interview to an end now. So questions for everyone. Let's start with Regé-Jean. So if you could sum up this movie in 3 words, just 3, what would you choose?
3 words. Fun, magical, adventure.
Thank you. Well, Jonathan, John, Jeremy, how about each of you just give 1 word to summarize this movie?
Family.
Surprising.
Yeah, thrill ride. That's 2 words, but
A hyphen makes it. A hyphen makes it 1 word.
So it's what was your word? It's what was your name?
Surprising.
Surprising.
A surprising family
thrill ride.
That's right.
Boom.
There we go.
There you go. We should be in marketing.
Maybe you should be in marketing right now. Sophia, Justice, I'm going to ask you guys to give us a list of words that sum up a successful team.
Listening and understanding. Compromise is really important. A common goal. What's another good attribute an attribute of a good team member?
Communicative.
Communicative. Innovative.
Okay, well.
You gave up, but that was a good effort. Good effort, guys. Right, Chris and Michelle, slightly different challenge for you. I don't know how much you know about Chinese monsters, but the most famous monster is called Nian.
Yeah.
Nian looks a bit like a lion, possibly has a horn on its head, lives at the bottom of the sea, comes out once a year. It's very dangerous, and it's afraid of loud noises. So we want to know, how would your 2 characters defeat Nian?
That's
I
intriguing.
wouldn't want to fight the carrot. I'd want to hang out with the tiger with a
No,
horn.
he'd eat you.
Oh. I mean, I play loud music in front of his face. I don't know.
Oh, that's wild. Of course, Holga would take an axe to it.
There wouldn't be much left of the tiger.
It's all about the axe and the head. Aiming for the head, probably chop the horn off, see if that helps.
Oh yeah, just let you know, Chinese people use firecrackers to scare away Nian.
Loud noises, yes.
So, final words, Chris and Michelle. Is there anything you'd like to say to your Chinese fans before we wrap up today's show? Yeah,
please go out and check out the film. I hope you'll really like it. The reaction so far and the crowds that we've seen it with have been really, really great. It's like a completely communal community experience. People are shouting and laughing and crying and talking at the screen, and it's kind of like a party, and it reminds you of why going back to the theater and seeing a film with a bunch of other people is so much fun.
Thank you for talking to us. Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
And Justin, Sophia, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Regé-Jean, thank you so much. I'm a big fan.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Thanks a lot, Regé-Jean. Bye-bye, bye-bye.
And finally, thanks John, Jonathan, and Jeremy.
Thank you.
I think the feed cut out at the end there.
Put it easy. Next interview.
It's okay. We got everyone in. Right, so that's the end of the show. Go check out Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves. It looks amazing. It's out on March the 31st. Shall we take a look at a trailer?
Amazing.
What is that?
Taking on the greatest evil will take the greatest team. We have a barbarian.
I don't mind that.
A warrior.
I'm glad he's on our side.
A sorcerer. And a shapeshifter.
Oh, that's not good.